testing.
Right out of the way. So I don't want to be in the view.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you all here today. I'm pleased today to announce the appointment of Josh Gleason as the new Goshen College Maple Leafs Athletic Director. As all of you know, Josh has filled the position in the interim role since June and served as Goshen's Assistant Athletic Director for Communications about 6 years prior to that. So it's been around a long time. And I'm especially pleased after thorough administrative review and strong affirmation by the athletics staff. It's clear, increasingly clear, that Josh is the right person to lead Goshen College Athletic Department at this time. He's committed to creating cohesion between teams, coaches, and campus. I'm especially grateful to Josh's philosophy called One Leap, as he calls it. It's the idea that all of us are in this together, that the teams are in it to win, that we are supporting them across campus to win, that in like measure, Josh has been at the forefront in helping deliver on the promise that athletics is an essential part of our academic mission, but also that the notion of scholarship among our athletes is a high value here on campus. And that has done such a, I think you've done a wonderful job, Josh, in bringing the campus together under the banner of One Leaf, being all together in this. So we're fortunate to have someone like Josh in this position. I'm grateful for those of you who support him, particularly the dream team we have around him. And thank you for that as well, for working together so closely with Josh. I appreciate his collaborative style, and we anticipate the positive spirit and success in athletics. We've been having a great year, and I can only imagine that it's going to keep getting better under Josh's leadership and because of all of you who support him in his leadership as well. So thanks for coming out, and with that, I'll just turn it over to Josh.
Well, thanks for coming. Nice, small, intimate crowd. And those that, most of you that know me well enough know that that's perfectly fine by me. Sometimes you try things, and weather and National Signing Day and other things make it difficult, and that's fine. Did want to have an opportunity to share in a different type of forum some of my thoughts, some of our vision moving forward. So thank you for being here for that. Again, those that know me well know that I like being behind the scenes more than anything. And so while there's some personal gratification in being appointed in this honor, I see this as far less about me and far more about the positive future of Goshen Athletics. That being said, I do feel like starting with a series of thank yous is appropriate from me personally to President Brenneman and Dr. Lee Snyder. Thank you for the careful approach you've taken with this transition and really the vision and support for athletics. Been saying since the summer that we have more support for athletics than we have at least in my tenure, and probably a lot longer than that. And it's been kind of funny because when I started saying that, you can see some people, yeah, sure, you're in this position, you can think that. And over the last 6-8 months, that has become something real that people have seen in a lot of big and small ways. I do also need to thank, of course, Doug and Josh Keister. President Brenneman referred to him as the dream team. We say brain trust, You can throw in a lot of other adjectives that I may or may not want to say in front of people, and that's fine. I can honestly say that there's no chance that I'd be standing here without their selflessness, without their commitment to Goshen athletics, without their flexibility. Many also have kind of questioned the approach of a three-headed leadership team and whether that would actually work. And without the quality and without just the personalities of those two, it wouldn't. And so thank you to them for all that. Thank you to the rest of our staff, many who are in here, for their support as well. Constant encouragement of myself and the direction we're going. I hope that I can provide the same to them. It really is a blessing to work with such high caliber people who have the same mission I do to develop student athletes holistically. I've had the opportunity to work with under 4 different ADs in my time in college athletics, and learned a whole list of things from each of them. One of the common things with each of them is that they've given me a great deal of responsibility and a lot of leeway. And I've learned a great deal from each of them through my successes and through my failures. And so I'm thankful for the opportunities each of them has given me. And then on an even more personal note, I'm thankful for the support of my family, especially Candace, who many of you know. When I met Candace, I was already in athletic administration, and she self-admittingly knew very little about sports, and has really jumped in with both feet. She's who type of person that every good coach, every good leader needs, that supports wholeheartedly, but will also tell me when I'm doing something stupid. And so I certainly wouldn't be here without her support. I hope to leave a majority of this to questions, but as I said, I want to share a piece of our vision, how we feel we're already making progress towards that, and how we can move forward. And I say our vision because I don't think it's mine. I don't think that it's something I'm the sole owner of. I think it's something that us as a staff have started to develop. Conversations with President and Lee have worked on, and we'll continue as a staff to shape and fine tune that. But I think it represents where we are and where we're headed fairly well. As me and President Brennan talked a few weeks ago, I think that there's 2 main areas that a quality athletic program at this level should provide. And I stress quality. I think the first one is that it should be a positive boost to the institution as a whole. That happens a number of different ways. One of the most common is through enrollment. You see schools all the time adding sports, adding programming to add students ultimately. So there's certainly a part of that, and our numbers have held steady and grown at certain times over the last 5 years, and so we've certainly been able to provide that. The other big way is through perception of the institution. If you, I'll stay away from some of the locals so I don't offend too many people, but if you think of Boise State, BYU, Baylor, you can go on and on. Most people aren't going to think immediately of their academics. Are those institutions better academically than other D1s, Columbia, Brown, Cornell? I mean, throw the whole Ivy League. No. But when you ask people on the street, they're going to think of the schools that have excelled athletically. That doesn't change the academics that are in place, but it opens the door so that people can see what else the institution has to offer more clearly. You see that even at our level where the perception of IWU, Bethel, those places is significantly stronger when there's not already a connection to the institution. I can say this because I know the crowd here, but Bethel's academics are not as strong as Goshen. But the perception in Elkhart County, St. Joe County is that Bethel is better. Why is that? Because they've had more success athletically. So a quality athletic program is going to open the door to the positive experience that students can have here. The second role that I see of small college athletic programming is the holistic development of student athletes. I tell the story often of when I first started coaching. I had a player who, as a team, we would basically every day pray as a team, and we'd have different players lead that. And the first time he came in and tried to lead a prayer, he was extremely uncomfortable with, even with this small group of players. And I remember his first prayer, he prayed something like, "Thank God for our feet." We're all looking at him like, "Well, what's going on?" But he was that uncomfortable in that type of setting. Move forward a little bit, and he ended up getting dismissed from our team for a physical altercation with an assistant coach. Year or two went by. That assistant coach happened to work for our phys plan and hired him on. Despite that incident, fast forward a little bit further, we brought him back as part of the team. Fast forward a few more years, and he is now a pastor. So he went from a guy that couldn't pray with a small group of guys to a pastor of a congregation. And there's certainly a lot of other things that went on with his life, but in that case, baseball played a big part of his development. And so I believe in the power of athletics and what it can do for student athletes' development in their 4, sometimes 5, sometimes 6 years. And so as I look at those two things, what we talk about often is pursuing excellence and pursuing that in the classroom, in the community, and in competition. I really like the concept of pursuit because it doesn't end. I think it fits well within the vision statement of Goshen College as an institution. The line integrated teaching and learning that offers every student a life-oriented story. And I like that concept of pursuit being part of their story. I've been 100% honest with anybody I talk to that Goshen College has done a good job overall in that pursuit in the classroom. Our numbers speak for themselves. GPAs, 233 NAIA Scholar athletes the last 5 years. Those numbers speak for themselves largely. We've done largely a good job of that in the community and in individual development. Many of you know Neil, especially Eric McCollum. I think that that's a great example of a guy that came in and had an impact on this campus and then is having an impact everywhere he goes now. He's a guy that this summer had opportunity of a lifetime to try out NBA Summer League and was willing to wake up at 6 a.m. in Vegas to have a video conference with a group of students here who wanted the opportunity to talk and interview him as part of a writing camp. So that's a good example of that. Again, I've been 100% honest though that athletically, overall in a general sense, we haven't done a great job of excellence. We've had blips here and there, we've had individuals, but in my time here, we haven't won a team conference championship. And I mean, the last decade overall has not been there. So as we start then looking at how we propel forward in that pursuit, and how we answer the important question of how we do that, I think that there's 4 keys that it starts with. The first, President Brennan already referenced, is teamwork, and we labeled that a theme of the year as One Lead. I think that we have a team in place that has unique giftings, and we fit together well. I've referenced this a number of times, and when we first brought up this theme, it was based a little bit, or a lot, on 1 Corinthians 12, talking about spiritual giftings. Verse 12, just as body, though one, has many parts, but all its parts form one body, so it is with Christ. And obviously, that is talking about the church, and I believe firmly that our team acts the same way. That each of us has a role, and when we play that role well, everybody benefits from that success. We've talked about that every time we meet as a staff. We bring that back up. We talk about that beyond just our staff and to the entire campus, and the entire campus needing to play its role for each team to be successful, and us needing to play our part within the entire campus for the campus to be successful. So we talk about taking ownership and getting better at the things that we can get better at. Second thing is support. I don't think support happens without that first one. I've always viewed the AD position as a support role. Anything I can do to make the job of our coaches more successful, I feel like that's my role. Obviously, when you talk support, there's a financial element, and I do think that we need to improve there and do a better job of getting those resources in place. But I firmly believe that support, when it's just viewed as financial, is very limiting. My job to support means garnering support, both financial and in a multitude of other ways. I think one of the things that we've done very successfully in the last 6-8 months, Josh Gleason and Doug take a big role in this, is garnering support on campus. We have made great progress with faculty. We have shared and are committed to what we do. We want the entire campus to be proud of. We want them to join in our mission. We want to join in their mission. And so that's a big part of support to me. The third thing is creativity. We're all aware of the obstacles that Goshen College has, among them being by far the smallest enrollment institution in the Crossroads League, which is only one element of how difficult our league is. I think that a sign of our creativity was the leadership team that we put in place. Another sign is what we've done with junior varsity soccer and how we've gotten creative with that to add things that will make our varsity programming more successful and more efficient. And we're going to need to continue to be creative with our resources and our development of our programming. And the last thing is intentionality. What are the building blocks to success? When we talk enrollment, we don't just say we need more students or we need more of this type of students. We put the steps into place to get those. So I talk to our coaches often and working with them on every aspect of their program. How can we intentionally develop that? We don't get better at turning double plays by just saying we need to get better at turning double plays. What steps do we need to get there? We don't recruit better players by saying we just need a better first baseman. We put steps into place in how we're going to find first baseman, how we're going to get one here. So those, I think, are the foundations for the approach. And I think that's that our direction of pursuit of excellence is built off those areas. For a number of years, and partly because my role as an SID is a natural fit, I considered myself a storyteller. I love to find ways to tell the story of our student athletes and their development. Goshen College, as you all know, has a storied athletic past. Talking to Ruth Gundon and really the development of collegiate women's athletics, period, not just here. John Ingold, dedicated servant. There's hundreds, thousands who have worn a Maple Leaf uniform, and they've gone on and done amazing things in their careers, in their lives, in their families. And I count myself blessed to have the opportunity to honor that past and move us, help move us forward in pursuing excellence in those areas. I believe in our student athletes, I believe in our staff, I believe in our institution, and I believe that together excellence is within our reach. So thank you again for coming, and thank you for your role, specifically in this role, in this room, your role in our pursuit of excellence. Questions? Fun part. Go ahead.
Neil Young, men's basketball, Goshen College. Josh, you alluded to your past experience as a coach. How do you feel like that coaching experience will now aid you as your new position? You're essentially the boss of coaches, and just in terms of relating to coaches and understanding coaches and getting the most out of coaches.
Yeah, it's enormous. I think there's probably 80s out there that haven't coached, and not to say that it hasn't worked. Too many. Maybe that's true. But I certainly think it's a huge benefit. I think another aspect of that that's a benefit for me is while I was blessed with the opportunity, I was cursed with the opportunity that I became a head coach too young. I didn't have the experiences that I needed to be able to do it well. I think I did as good a job as I could have, and I think I worked my tail off to do as good a job as I could have. But I think that's almost better because it's not like I had a long story, successful career and think that I know everything. I'm aware of the things that I did well coaching and the things that I didn't. So I think that's helpful too. I've certainly been in a lot of the difficult situations that coaches find themselves in, and can draw on that experience. So I mean, I think it's, like you said, maybe it's too many that haven't coached, but I think it's a very useful part of my experience.
As an alumnus and bus driver, I did a study once of all the requirements of the Crossroads League colleges to get in to their school, and Goshen is at the top. And that, how do you propose to, you don't get some of those players because of limited finances. Those top students can go anywhere.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of combinations, and I'm not sure if this is a question to answer in the first day officially. But, you want to talk on that?
Yeah. No, it's clear that while there's some other good academic institutions, Goshen does stands right up there, if not at the top, certainly within the mix. And that does present some obstacles. I think that that there's a number of answers, and I wouldn't pretend to have a complete answer either. I think part of it goes back to what I talked about with creativity. Part of that, we're working with financial aid already to come up with models that give us the greatest degree of flexibility while keeping our standards in place overall. And in flexibility, I mean, we can take a risk on one or two that may be very strong impact athletic performers who also happen to be great fits for the institution, who may not have the best academic track record. And then on the other hand, we balance them and put things in place to make them successful while they're here. I think that that's the biggest key, is when we do take those risks, we are aware of them and we have the things in place that we can help them along. So I think that creativity and financial aid is probably the biggest piece of that. Maintaining overall an ability to maintain who we are, which is a strong academic program. And as I said, those numbers have stood the test of time, and it's not something that our pursuit of excellence in the classroom continues with strong academic kids. And in taking the ones that aren't quite as strong and moving them towards the rest. That's not to say that a kid that comes in that's borderline is then going to be a 4.0 here, because that's not going to happen 99% of the time. But moving them from a borderline to a good student, I think is well within the grasp. And we have coaches that are already putting into place a lot of different programming to make sure that those kids are taken care of and that they are progressing. So I think there's creative ways to get them here and to fight some of those obstacles. We just gotta work at it. Yes, sir.
In small college athletics, turnover is going to be something that's going to occur to a certain degree, but some of the more successful programs have stability for years, if not decades. How do you plan to sort of create an atmosphere where stability is something that can help us succeed?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot of good people through, and when you have good people and don't have things in place to keep them, they're going to move on. So that's near the top, if not the top of our concerns. What we have been able to do, I mentioned creativity with junior varsity soccer, is get in a position where those coaches are a full-time capacity and here phased in over the next few years. And so that gets us a few positions, a few more positions that are full-time. I think that's the first step, is making it something that is realistically possible for them to do long-term. You have to have something in place that will allow that first. And then creating an atmosphere that people want to be a part of. Part of that comes naturally with winning. And so if we can continue to turn the corner there, it's going to be a natural part that they want to be a part of. But I think that many coaches at this level, you get a variety of different reasons why coaches are in it, but we look for coaches that want to be in it for the same reasons as us. And I think when you're united in a mission and united as a department, all working together, that's people want to belong. And if you provide a means that they can do it and provide an atmosphere that they enjoy, then you're going to have more consistency. And those are a few of the hallmarks that you have to have. Otherwise, I mean, we've had, you look at women's soccer here, and some of them are unfortunate events that you have no control over, with family and other issues. But we haven't had a position that is sustainable long-term either. And so we've had a good deal of turnover. You don't have more? I was expecting you to have a whole list.
Well, I mean, I was gonna ask you what sport's your favorite, but.
Ice hockey. Well, I played 4 in high school, just basketball for 1 year, and just golf for 1 year, and then played baseball and soccer throughout. And I kind of got convinced to play soccer in high school. Had played growing up and then had given it up. And then in high school, soccer became my favorite sport. I was best at baseball, manageable at soccer, but I do like the game quite a bit. Played pretty much everything and do enjoy pretty much everything.
Have you been to like Crossroad League meetings yet as an AD, or?
We have the, I say preseason, but for fall sports, they're already going. All conference meeting that is basically all head coaches. So we were at that, the ADs at that, partially because several of the ADs also coach, more or less sit around the table and talk about all the other coaches. And which table would be most interesting to sit at, and those kind of conversations. So we've done more.
It's not basketball.
We've done more correspondence than anything at this point.
I just wonder if there's, I mean, we're all somewhat in the same boat with some of our finances, and so I just wonder if there's creativity like about scheduling, like the men's and women's team travel together, that kind of stuff that you all have conversations about.
Yeah, definitely. What was interesting about that meeting is the first thing I heard from 4 different ADs was, man, I don't know how we're going to survive with these budget cuts. Everybody thinks IWU is doing so well financially, and he's talking budget cuts across the board of 10%, and all kinds of. Now their 10% was obviously higher than the rest of the conference to begin with, but everybody's dealing with it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about our league is there's fierce competition. Obviously, it's so balanced that everybody wants to win. But I found this as an SID. I've already found this as an AD. I've gotten phone calls, emails. You need anything? You need to find out, how to do this, or you want suggestions on how to deal with this, or there's that competition, but once the buzzer goes, once Grace's AD was up here this weekend, and unfortunately they swept us, and the first thing he said is, I really liked how you honored your former coach at halftime, and the cross country team at halftime of the men's game, and it's that kind of thing. We did this way. This might work for you, this might not, but here's advice. And so I think there's good collaboration, which is fun.
What's been the most enjoyable part of being AD? I mean, obviously during your intern that you didn't anticipate being enjoyable.
Good question. That I didn't anticipate. Well, it's certainly not turf.
The education.
Coming from years as an SID, and there's a lot of creativity in that role, in how to tell stories, but then there's graphic design and web work, and there's a lot of creative type work, which I always really enjoyed, and I thought that would be something that I really missed, because I'm not doing it in the same ways. but there's a lot more creativity involved than I would have expected. Creative problem solving, more than, like more graphic type stuff. So I've been surprised and excited about that, that my creative side gets more than a full workout, and excited about that moving forward too.
I should tell you, Josh, that I was excited when I was announced as AD to the athletic director until someone told me that you really thought it was athletic director, but AD really stands for additional duties. So, bring it on. It's going to come.
That's been one of the funny things too, is especially when I first took over interim, people either had an opinion that this was far more work or far less. And Tony will know, SIDs will know that workload is incredible. And so I thought it was funny that people would have that drastic an opinion one way or another. And the way I look at it is the workload is probably about the same, it's just different. Yes, sir.
Alex Childers, men's baseball. As kind of higher education has evolved over the past couple of years and such, how do you see the health, not just of Goshen College, but of small college athletics moving forward into the next couple of years?
Yeah, that's a good question too. We're currently interviewing for Lee's eventual replacement. A similar question is one that we're asking everybody. So it's been interesting to see their opinions on higher education and the difficulties that it faces. I think the advantage that we have is athletics. People don't want to give that up as part of their